Hello, this is Todd. Welcome to another video. This video is going to cover Pressman space creatures done in Mego form, as well as some updates to what I've been working on and some things that I made out of parts. This image here that's coming up right now, this is the first thing I ever sculpted. That was like a physical figure. I did this in college. I was using just traditional clays like Roman plastilina and silicone molds, but luckily I still had a piece of my portfolio that had this. So some of the stuff I don't get to show ever, just because most of what is designed and developed you're not allowed to show. I did work on the Creepshow stuff for Mego, which was shown at Toy Fair and has been shown out publicly, so I was able to at least share some of the stuff. These are the heads that I painted for the werewolf and for the creature itself from, I believe, the first episode, and multiple views. They were awesome to work on. Just really great sculpts, great character designs, and really great paint. And I was able to at least include what the final versions look like that were shown up post Toy Fair, the ones that are being prepared for production. So when it comes to the space creature stuff, which is coming up now, I had an attachment to this stuff growing up. My brother had the red Vorkan. I had the black Vader mask, and these were fantastic. They were a lot of work as a kid, though. And when it came to putting them together and painting them and stuff like that, you couldn't breathe in them. So I did these show some early mock-ups that I did for what I wanted to do with the package. I wanted to keep it very low cost. I wanted to keep it around 45 bucks. And then I started sculpting. This is the first head that I sculpted. Amber actually gave me feedback on this while I was doing it, which was super helpful to adjust the teeth and head. And this shows some of the early output of like the weapons along with the first batch of heads. And then what I was doing with robes, I was going to do the sewing myself just because of time and speed and stuff like that. It was a micro batch. There were only 10. So this shows me testing out the weapons, the heads, checking the scale before I move into the robes. And this is my first set of tested figures where I've sewn a robe of each, painted each of the heads and weapons to get a gauge on how much time it's going to take, and this is the final photography for that. That way I could get a sense on like how long it's going to take to do several of each, and you know, just managing my time to get the batch. These were done for Zolicon very exclusively. People actually traveled to see them, which was awesome, and picked them up. I believe there was a couple from Virginia that came all the way to Zolicon and Valley Forge to buy them. And this shows some of the early mock-ups of me testing out the packaging, getting everything set up, getting my batch ready, cutting out each of the pieces and attaching them. And then this is the final version of those figures done. I did change Zordius. This shows me working over top. This is basically how I model and build everything. I work over top of photographs. I had an issue with his eyes and the scale of his head, so I redid parts of it, redid parts of the head, and then printed it back out, repainted it, rephotographed it, and then I was much happier with it in the end. Even though it was only a small handful of them, I just wanted to be comfortable with how they were done in the end. This shows me doing batch painting. Now what you see here right now is normally what I throw out. I generate a lot of printed material from running tests of pieces of heads, arms, legs, belts, gloves, boots, whatever it is. And most of it gets thrown out, but I had amassed a large portion of it, and as I was putting in the trash, I stopped myself and thought, maybe I could make some actual figures out of some of this stuff, because there were some suits in there as well. So I went through, I sorted through that box, and I started to grab and make sets of pieces. And this is the first one that I did. It's basically, I took a suit that was left over from an alien I wasn't happy with, and then I took parts of Beast. I took his head because I had an extra head. I took the sword off of Tombs of the Blind Dead and the weapon from Sunfire. And then the final product was a Star Creatures Dark Lord Zebulon. He's literally made of trash. This is my second one. I took a Spectre Man head, a really bad suit I dyed. I took Warbow's bow. I took a piece of Mars Attacks collar, and then the belt from Captain Marvel. And that became the Night Star Trooper. Now this extra suit was one of the Iceman suits I designed, but it printed out so poorly that I couldn't use it. So then I took that suit, I then added a head from Tempest, I took the seaweed and claws off of the Innsmouther I did for the Monolith Lovecraft stuff, and then ended up with this guy. He was called Ice Dweller Krylos, I believe. But I did later come back to Nightstar Trooper after I found another blue suit that I hadn't destroyed. So I put that back on the figure, photographed him, carded. I was much happier with him in the end. And I wanted to do some fantasy stuff. I had these Brother Voodoo suits that were too light. They were very gingerbread looking. So I took weapons off a Crystar. I took the head from the werewolf, and I made this Wolf Brother figure and parts of Crystar. And then I called him part of the Nightmare Warriors. I had a whole story in my head where I was like, they would be two brothers. So then I took another suit. I took a head from a Moon Knight and more Crystar weapon pieces and made a brother for him, which he ended up being called Wolf or Brother Blood Moon, I believe, something like that. So anyway, I thank you for watching this, and let me know what you guys think of the trash figures and of space creatures and what memories you might have had from those. Thanks again.